Señor Presidente,
Mr. President, Excellencies, I appreciate the initiative of convening this emergency session of the General Assembly so that the international community can raise its voice in an energetic condemnation and rejection of the violence and suffering caused to the civilian population in the Middle East, especially the most vulnerable women, children, elderly, and the sick in the Middle East. Colombia reaffirms its historic support for a peaceful, definitive, and comprehensive solution to the Palestinian question based on the two-state solution that would live next to each other within safe and secure borders in keeping with what is set forth in the relevant resolutions of this General Assembly and the Security Council. We deeply regret the blood-curdling escalation of violence that we have seen in recent weeks and the ongoing violations of international humanitarian law. Resuming the 10th extraordinary session of this General Assembly shows that an absence of a definitive response that's adapted to international law to the conflict between Israel and Palestine creates deplorable consequences for the civilian population. It destabilizes the region and calls into question the very meaning of life and humanity. Excellencies, all conflicts are complex, and there are many variables to address in them with a view to achieving a definitive and peaceful solution. This is the lesson that my country, Colombia, knows and has learned. We know from decades of how a conflict has affected us. Throughout the decades of the armed conflict and many attempts to negotiate peace, we have learned that only truly giving up the expression of differences through violence is absolutely vital and essential in order for societies to make a transition towards living together in peace. This is the invitation extended by my government. The President, Gustavo Petro, extends on a daily basis in his term, both inside our country and in different international scenarios, because we know firsthand that violence only produces more violence and more loss of lives, leaving in its wake a very unfortunate and harmful legacy for future generations. Colombia regrets the inability of the Security Council to unanimously and decisively condemn the violations of international humanitarian law that we continue to witness on a daily basis. And we energetically call on the international community to show unequivocally its determination and commitment to uphold the mandates of the organization expressed through the current normative instruments. We welcome with satisfaction the efforts of different countries to put a halt to the violence and guarantee access to humanitarian assistance to Gaza and other territories affected by the conflict. And we reiterate our call for an immediate cessation of hostilities. We call for the respect of international humanitarian law and the protection of life. And finally, we would like to insist on this call put forth by President Petro on the need to convene a worldwide peace conference to find a definitive solution to the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. Thank you.
This has been the Nod News Network. Transmission complete.